Okay, and welcome now to week 4 of EDIT2310, Technology in the Classroom. Hope you're enjoying what we're learning so far. And week 4 is going to be a busy week for you, so let's get into it and take a look at this. Begins off here in the instructions. You know what we've learned so far, building our classrooms. And now whenever you build those classrooms, you put in some content. You put in your own lesson plans, hopefully a YouTube video, and take a look at that. This week, we're going to be looking at other kinds of content that we might put into our classroom files. And so we'll be learning here how to put in images, clip art, screenshots, and always being conscious of whether or not the media that we're working with is copyrighted so that we are not violating any copyright rules, get our school district in trouble, get ourselves in trouble. So there's some discussion here about how to do that. And then this last paragraph here under what you will learn this week talks about working with PDF or Adobe Acrobat documents. And you're going to do a little bit of research and write up just a little one-page paper on this. And I'll explain that here in just a moment. But let's look first of all at the instructions for editing these images. So I've given you 4 images down below, and if we scroll down, you'll take a look at them here. And original images, you'll click here for this first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. The reason for 4 images is that by the time you work on the first one, you'll be a little bit better working on the second, a little bit better on the third, and so on. So by the time you finish with this, you ought to be fairly comfortable with working on image editing in either Photoshop or GIMP. Now, I don't own a license to Photoshop, and I never use Adobe if I can help it at all. And I use GIMP and always have for years. So GIMP is free, it's open source, it does just about everything that Photoshop will do, and I encourage you to take a look at that. But you see them discussed here, Photoshop and GIMP. And if you want to see how to find GIMP and install it, then just do a search for download GIMP or get GIMP, and normally that will take you to the download page for the product that you're looking for. Now, I'm providing you this week with 2 chapters out of a textbook that I use in teaching web design. You'll see those 2 chapters right down here, chapter 23 and 24. And these chapters are really good about explaining electronic images and the file formats that are necessary for them. And I've given you 4 images, and the reason I'm giving them to you is so that I can establish a standard by which to grade. I know that if you were to go and select your own images, that you would probably do fine with those, but it would be hard for me to grade them based upon some set standard. So I'm giving you these 4, and hopefully you're learning the skills in the process of editing these 4 that you'll be able to edit any other images that you may want to use for your own content. Now, the images all relate to the founding of the United States. So one of the images is a painting of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. There's another one that shows the U.S. Capitol building, and so on. You have images like that. So this would be good for if you're teaching government class or something like that, then this would be a good set of images for you. Now, you can use either Photoshop or GIMP. Now, if you're a Mac user, I know that there are products in the Apple world that are good for editing images as well. I'd like for you to contact me about that before you do, because GIMP is a free and open source piece of software, and it runs on Windows, it runs on Mac, it runs on Linux, and I guess if you have a Chromebook, we could find a way to make it run on the Chromebook, because it will run on Linux. It would take an advanced user to make that happen. But anyway, Photoshop or GIMP, either one. And then here are the editing instructions about what you can do with the images. You can crop them, you can change the color profile within the pictures, you can do all kinds of things. Whenever you're looking through the chapters with Robbins in her textbook, And if you come across something that you want to do, but you're not quite sure how to do it, just search in YouTube. There are thousands, I'm sure, of videos in YouTube, and that's what I do when I need to know how to do something. So go in there and find out how to do it, and it'll be great. What I'm looking for is I want you to make the images as small in file size, not as small in image size. Keep that distinction in mind. I know you could probably make these pictures, these images, about 2 pixels by 2 pixels, but they'd be too small to see. So what we're looking for is a reduced file size. And the reason for this is that when you go to use an image in some sort of electronic presentation, whether it's through Google Classroom or OneNote or through whatever website, then whenever you have images, if the image is too large, the page takes too long to display. So you're giving an image that's so large that the internet can't download it quickly. And so by reducing the file size in such a way that you still retain enough of the quality of the image, then you're getting a product that will download quickly. Students don't have to wait for it to appear. They can see clearly enough in that image about the stuff that you're trying to teach them. And that's what this is all about. Reducing files down to the smallest file size without losing what I call the usefully attractive features of the image. So you want to make it look basically the same way that it did originally, but anytime you reduce and optimize an image, you're always going to lose some of what we call just the information in the file. Some of the pixels may go away, and those, for the most part, are not recoverable. But do it in such a way that you don't lose the basic quality of what the image is all about. And the criteria I have on this is I want you to leave the final height of your edited image to be at least 550 pixels in height. Now, so you're going to want to do any cropping first. You're going to want to work with the image a little bit, massage it some. And then when you finally get ready and you think that you've got the image showing what you want it to show, then resize it to where your image is 550 pixels tall, and then go through the processes of editing, optimizing, and all like that. And then that way, whenever your file is finished, it will be an optimized image that's 550 pixels tall. And I want you to try to get that file size down to, in the range of 100 pixels to 100 kilobytes, I should say, to 100 kilobytes or less. And that will depend upon what it is that you're doing, of course, but the smaller, the better. Some of these images are huge. All right, so the other instructions is for research about an Adobe PDF document. This is going to be some minor research for you, but I want you to find an alternative for Adobe Acrobat. Like Photoshop, it comes from Adobe, and it's expensive. And not all of the schools offer a license of this product to their teachers. Where I work, I don't have a license for it, so I have to use alternative means for doing some of the same things. And down here, I'm giving you some examples of the kinds of things that are difficult to do with PDF documents, such as combining multiple PDF documents that you may have into one, so merging those together. The other is you have a large PDF document with lots of different pages in it. Then how could you extract one or more of those pages out and make an individual file out of that? The other is editing the contents of the PDF file. So how would you go in and change the words, correct the spelling, or change out an image, or make the background color or the borders different color? So how would you edit the content of the file? And the other is converting a PDF form into a fillable form. You're going to run into this a lot as a teacher and just through life in general. There's going to be lots of PDF documents people want you to fill out, and people are always looking to find that guru who can take a PDF form and make it into a fillable PDF form so people can just type in all of the information and then submit it electronically without having to go through that whole process of scanning it, filling it out manually, and then trying to sign it and scan it back in and all, the routine. So anyway, I'm just looking for 500 words or less. And so this does not include citations or quotations. If you quote somebody, I can't count their words as part of your 500 words. So don't use quotations as a padding to fill your document. Besides that, my quote over here. This is something I've been saying for years. If you simply quote the words of others, you've only demonstrated really not much more than the intellectual capacity of a parrot. And so I want you to read deeply and read broadly, research deeply, think independently, and write originally. Let this be your thoughts, because just like you're going to do with your students, if they quote something in class, you're going to say, well, what does that mean? And that's what I'm asking you. What does that mean? I want you to put it in your own words. Now, everything is due by midnight of Sunday night at the end of week 4. So, we always start on Monday and then we run through the weekend. So Sunday night, midnight is the end of week 4, and that's when everything is due. You'll see down here, don't forget also the peer support forum. We have that as well. And this is where you can post messages to one another and get help with all of this. Here are the images that you're going to download. Here's where you'll upload the images 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've done this in such a way that I know if I gave a specific link to upload a specific image, some would get the wrong image uploaded. So I did it in such a way that I really don't care which of your edited images you upload as image 1 and then 2 and 3 and 4. If they're all mixed up in there, I don't care, as long as I get all 4 of them back. And then lastly, down here at the bottom is a place where you can post your PDF file whenever, your PDF research file, whenever you're finished with that. And that's it for week 4. And I wish you a lot of luck in that. Any problems, be sure and let me know.